So after not being very satisfied with my performance yesterday, let's hope for something better today. Let's try hand number C-11. Uh, okay, there's no bidding by the opponents, which we need to calcu calculate and interpret, which is already a good start. Okay. Now, obviously, we are going to lose this first trick, and I don't think that playing the king right now well, does that anything for us? Maybe. I'm just worried a bit about entries into south. There are not as many entries into south as I wished. So let's maybe not draw conclusions too quickly here. Let's just look at the hand first. There's no bidding, like I said, so nothing to consider there. West Ace of Hearts. Hearts lead is most likely a singleton, I think. If you have the singleton Ace of Hearts in trumps, you often want to lead it right away, so that if your partner, for example, has the king, he doesn't. And declarer plays trump, he doesn't play his king in second position, and you have to overtake it with the ace. That's a waste, of course. Happened quite a lot actually in our family games. Unfortunately, I have to admit it shouldn't happen, but it does happen. It should. So let's see. There were no diamond losers, obviously. Counting from South's perspective, there were two spade losers and a club loser. And this ace of trumps loser, which amounts to 4. So one of the losers has to disappear. One way or the other. I mean, this is one of those hands where it gets really, really tricky because there are just so many possibilities. I see already in clubs, for example, we could try to lead the queen, and if West has the king, he will play it, but we will take the ace, and then or we could even duck. We could even duck the king, and then finesse against West. Hope that he also has the jack, because then the ace and 10 would both make tricks in dummy, and we could discard our spade loser. We have a diamond discard in dummy also, but I'm not really sure what that accomplishes, to be honest. Because dummy is the longer hand in both spades and clubs, so a discard from his side doesn't seem as useful as a discard from South would be. We could also, of course, finesse to the queen in clubs, hoping that East has the king. We will always lose a club trick, I think. No matter if we lead the queen or lead towards the queen, there's basically no chance to avoid losing a club trick. It's just that maybe we can establish 2 winners instead of 1. What we must hope for. And on the second winner, which would be a dummy, we could discard a spade, which is very useful. I'm actually thinking if I at some point should play the diamonds, the king, and overtake it with the ace just to have an entry to South, since To be brutally honest, yeah, I don't really see much use in that second diamond trick. It's always nice to have a winner, but in order for that winner to actually do something, you need to also find a useful discard from the other side. And I don't see a useful discard in North's hand. Yes, the three of spades or something like that, but that doesn't improve the suit at all. Are there any spade finesses? Possibly. The problem sort of is that most of these finesses that I see would be against West, and West has already led the ace of trumps. And both opponents have passed, so of the remaining high card points, East is a slight favorite to hold the majority of those. So finessing against West maybe not the greatest idea. I'm actually also now thinking about just finessing after drawing trumps, of course. Finessing spades quite twice from north side to the 10 and jack, because it's quite unlikely that West holds both the queen and king of spades. Especially given he has already led the ace of hearts. Yeah, maybe I need those entries into dummy after all, since if I finesse two low spade cards twice, and one of them is successful, that would... Yeah, I still lose two spade tricks potentially. Can't avoid that. But... yeah, if I might be able to establish a second spade trick also. And that would be a dummy, possibly the ace, and on that second spade trick from dummy I could discard my club loser potentially. Also, I'm inclined to just keep the diamond suit. I mean, yes, it's also quite tempting to eliminate that suit, so the opponents will be never able to lead back diamonds, and we need to check that possibility. But I'm actually also inclined to just keep the suit, since it provides an entry both ways, potentially. Which is always very useful to have. Actually, but the more I think about it, the more also eliminating the diamond suit seems attractive to me. So by eliminating, I would actually just, I think, overtake the king with play the ace and play the deuce and rough it in dummy. I think that's the cleanest way to eliminate the suit, actually. Because I don't need to waste a valuable entry back to hand. And also I don't need to find a discard from dummy, which I don't really want to. Those spades and those clubs in dummy have potential. And then I want to exit something and let the opponents play. The club suit seems like a suit that we would really like opponents to play. The spade suit maybe we can exit in a spade suit. Actually thinking about just docking a spade around of spades. But if I eliminated diamonds, the opponent surely can't lead that back. They will probably do either spades or clubs. And yeah, that's also an idea actually. If I finesse like to the 10 of spades from dummy, let's say. Yes, West might win the trick with a queen or a king. But if he now returns a spade, I will surely establish a second spade trick. I might still lose a second spade trick also, but I will surely establish one. Because I will just play low from dummy, and if East has the other of the queen and king, I will play low and my jack is established. And after the jack, I can cross to dummy and also catch the ace. That's good. And if West holds the king, well, my jack wins immediately, obviously. And then I still have the ace as a third spade trick, as a second spade trick. So, West cannot ever return spades. Now, if East wins the king or the queen immediately, I think there's also no problem in spades. Or so it seems at least. Because yeah, we at least established one of our spades in hand for a second trick already. But I see sort of a problem with the club stoppers. I will probably need to take need to take need to take I will probably need to take a guess in the club suit, which is not really my preferred option, but if East, like, or even West, if one of them returns clubs, I'm still not really sure what to do, to be honest. Either way, if East returns clubs, I have to make a guess whether West is more likely to have the king or the jack. And actually the same is reversed the case. So if West returns a club, I also need to make a guess which one East is more likely to have, the queen, the king or the jack. Not very ideal. It's better if West returns a club, I think. I think I can just play the 10 of clubs at least. And well, if East wins the jack, I still have the queen. And if East wins the king, then both my queen and my ace are good. So I actually quite like this strategy, and I also want to keep an entry to north in case my spade suit in the end becomes blocked. Because it might well be that the jack of spades is a winner, but I have no more spades from hand to reach dummy's ace. So I need a trump entry in that case. I think I sort of like this idea actually to draw trumps, obviously. And then just eliminate diamonds. Well, I should first see if trumps split. They do. There's a second round of trumps following, and now I need to decide in which hand I want to win this trick. I'm inclined to say south, because that would keep an entry to north, but on the other hand, does that really matter? Because I still need to make a decision on the spade suit. No, a decision with which heart in dummy to rough my diamond. That's the thing. Like if I now play the 5 and the 8 in hand, I can play the ace of diamonds and the deuce of diamonds and rough it in dummy, but at that point I need to decide if I rough with the 6 or the king. So that there will only be an entry left in one direction. And I think an entry to north is actually more useful later for the spade suit. Like if I finesse spades from dummy, West cannot ever return diamonds. I get a rough and discard and I'm there. If West returns spades, that's the issue. I will play low. East will possibly win his king of spades. And then return a club. I have to win this one with the ace, somehow. Depending on which club West has, but I think the program will just give West the club orders accordingly. So I win that club from East in dummy. Because East returning clubs is not as good for me as West returning clubs. If West returns clubs, I get a sure second club trick. East can return clubs without me promoting a second club trick necessarily. I would need to make a guess for that. And I think the program will be manufactured in such a way that our guesses just don't work. So, dummy wins the ace. I have the jack of spades as a winner now, but I need to reach it, so I need to play a low spade from dummy to my jack. And now is the crucial point where I need an entry back into dummy. Yeah. So I need to keep the king of hearts in dummy as this final entry to cash the ace of spades and discard my last club. That's it. Okay. So I win this, and now I cross to dummy in the diamond suit, but not in the ordinary way by playing the deuce of diamonds to the king. But I think it's actually better to just play the ace first and to eliminate the diamond suit immediately by roughing the deuce. Yes, I give up a diamond winner in the process, but not really sure what the discard in dummy would bring me. So let's just eliminate the diamond suit this way, and remember we want to keep the king of hearts for later. And now I wanted to play a low spade and overtake it with the 10 or the jack, doesn't matter. Okay, West wins. I'm actually curious what West returns. West returns a club. And now I want it. I can actually play low, I think. Yeah, I'll just play low. And East will win the king if he has it. But the queen and the ace then become high. East will probably return a spade. I win that one with the ace. I cross back to the queen of clubs, which is high. And then I have my trump entry to dummy to cash the ace of clubs and discard my final spade. Got it. Okay. And I don't think it matters if I play the 10 or low in this trick. I wonder what the 10 of clubs accomplishes in the first place, but I'm sure there is one particular line in which it plays a role. I don't think it matters anymore now if I play the jack or the deuce on this trick. Let's just play the deuce. I want to win this one anyway. I want to cross to my high queen of clubs. And now I need that preserved precious trump entry to dummy. Because I can now play the ace of clubs, discard my spade. And we have made it. First try. Okay. This wasn't too bad. I suspected quite early on, to be honest, that we needed to eliminate the diamond suit immediately, and not by first crossing to the king, then entering back into hand and cashing the ace, which of course would also be a way to eliminate it, but it would waste a valuable entry in another suit, and I didn't really want to touch any other suits other than diamonds, so the most effective way to play diamonds and nothing else is to just play the ace and play the deuce immediately and ignore the king of diamonds in dummy completely. That one could have just as easily been a three of diamonds, doesn't matter. I think if it were a three of diamonds, most would have found that strategy. But with the king, although the king is obviously better than three, it's a little more hidden, a little more tricky, I guess. But anyway, this wasn't too bad once we figured that out. I basically didn't know exactly how it was going to come down. I just didn't want to touch the other suits. I wanted the opponents to touch the suits for me. And West, I think this actually 100%. West didn't have a good return. West won by 10 of spades with the queen. But if he returned a spade, well, I would have established my jack of spades as a second spade winner. And use that, and catch it next. And then use the ace of spades to discard a club loser. And if West leads a club, it's the other way around. In both cases, I actually need the king of hearts as an entry to dummy's ace in the third or fourth round of the suit. Either the ace of spades or the ace of clubs. South must be careful to keep the king of hearts here. Yes, that entry is very important for later. Yeah, the contract can be guaranteed. Yes, this is 100% if you think about it, which is quite cool. I always like when there's a real, when you don't have to play any calculation or any probability game, but there is actually a way to guarantee the contract full stop. And I think this is one. We eliminate the diamond suits also. And then we lose the spade trick. If we don't lose it, well, we are already there. And if we lose it to east, we are also there since we keep both the 10 and jack in hand. And if we lose our 10 or our jack to west, west cannot return anything. He cannot return diamonds, that's a double void. And we would get rid of one of our losers from hand easily. If he returns clubs, we establish a second club trick. And if he returns spades, we establish a second spade trick. And we will use that to discard the loser in the other black suit. Very cool. Yes. Ignore that king of diamonds in dummy. Yes. It is a second diamond winner, yes, but that winner is useless. We have no discard in dummy, so just treat it as if it were the 3 or the 5 of diamonds or whatever. And now eliminate the diamond suit so the opponents. When the opponents return diamonds, we have a muffin discard. Yeah, and now just exit a spade if east. Yes, if east would have won the king, which was also a possibility, of course. Yeah, he has the same issue. Yeah, okay, South doesn't play the queen of clubs. Important, South plays the deuce. And now the 10 in dummy comes into play, since if East plays a club, West plays the deuce of clubs. West could have the jack, potentially. He can play his jack now. We win it with the ace. And now we play a low club to the queen and give the opponent the trick with the king. But then the 10 is high. Yeah. That's why the 10 of clubs is actually important. So even if East returns a club, we make 2 sure club tricks. Same, if West returns a club, that's even easier, I think. Yeah, nobody can return diamonds, otherwise we are already there. And if West wins the first round of spades, yes, he knocked out our jack, but doesn't matter. He also can't return anything at this point. If he returns a club, we have 2 sure club tricks. If he returns a spade, we have 2 sure spade tricks. And if he returns a diamond, well, we can rough in dummy and immediately discard the loser. Yeah, in this case, he did a club. A spade would have been absolutely no different. Yeah, now we have 2 club winners, the queen and the ace, and on the second one we can discard a spade. We only need to be careful about entries, since we can't enter dummy's ace of clubs by playing a club. We don't have a club in South anymore, so we need that king of hearts. Very important. Unblock the queen of clubs and cross to the king of hearts. Play the ace of clubs, throw away the deuce of spades. Alright. I'm actually quite pleased I got this, and don't think it's a very bad hand. It's actually an instructive hand, especially since the right strategy is actually 100% secure, which is something very nice to have, because probability calculations, which often also depend on the auction in some way, are a little bit rough, especially since understanding the bidding from 2 opponents which play a different system than yourself isn't always that fun, I think. Alright. Okay, have a nice weekend. See you tomorrow.